Hey everyone, SimplyZoological here, and welcome to the channel if you're new, and if not, then thank you for joining me again for another episode that is a little bit new. So, as you can see, this is a fully finished zoo, which was created by Jean Tide here on YouTube, and relatively recently, Jean did a tour of this zoo over on her channel, but she invited Gunter from Gunter's Gaming, Alfred, he also has a YouTube channel here as well, and myself to tour it with her. And during this tour, I can't remember who it was, but someone suggested that we did a renovation of this zoo. So because I believe this was Jean's first zoo, maybe, that she did, first or second. And so, that was 3-4-ish years ago, I think we figured. So, we decided as a group that we would try to do a group collaborative project on this and renovate her old zoo into a brand new zoo. So, however, when we decided to start this venture, we did set a couple of guidelines for us during this project. So, we aren't able to take, like, if there's a habitat, if there's two habitats right next to each other, and you say you want this habitat to move over to Africa or something, you cannot move an entire habitat from one location to another. You can adjust that habitat in that spot, but you cannot, in theory, move it from one spot to another. Unless, as a group, we decided, yeah, it may look better over there or something, you know? So, again, they're guidelines. They're not rules that we have to utterly follow, but they are guidelines to give us, hey, if we want to move this, we may need to ask, say, hey, could I move this over somewhere else? And as a group, we could decide on it. But with that being said, I was the first to be nominated to renovate a portion of the zoo. If you don't know, this zoo is called Sunshine Point. And so, as I would have liked to, I started with the entrance. And going in, I knew that Jean had wanted a modern entrance building style. So that's kind of what I did. I deleted, because as you walked into the zoo, she had two buildings on either side. I deleted both of those buildings completely and basically built them brand new. I kept the building that you currently see me working on. It was a gift shop, and it still is a gift shop. The building that I will work on next was a restaurant, and it is still a restaurant. So all I did was I changed the outside shell and maybe the inside layout, but I kept the building what it originally was. Because again, that's another guideline kind of thing that we have set in place, is if there's this building here, don't just completely change the architectural style or anything of it. So again, just guidelines that we put in place for us to follow. So that's what I did. I completely demolished the old buildings and I have reconstructed them. And let me tell you, this came out so much better than I thought it would. I think I actually had to do the building you're currently watching, I had to do it twice, I believe. Because the first one, it looked good, but it wasn't exactly what I was wanting. And so, as always, I started with an inspiration picture, which I found on Pinterest, obviously. And so I did my best to implement what I could from that picture into here. And the first go around, it worked out okay, but it wasn't the best. So I deleted it all and started brand new. And that's what you're currently watching, is my brand new redo. And this go around was so much better. Everything just went smoother. It was just all around a much better build. And so the inspiration picture that I used had this, again, it was a very modern style. And because again, that's what Jean wanted the entrance to be, was a modern styled entrance. I might have went a little too modern, but I like it, they liked it, so it's all good. And so here you see me working on the window. I made a faux window, which you see currently on the right at the front of the building. I believe that's the emissive glass decal panels that I used to create the faux window, and then a lot of Twilight wood, I believe, is what I used for the window frames and everything. And then here the picture that I saw had this little lip at the top, you could say, where it had an extra raised portion and then a teeny tiny black trim going all the way around. So in order to recreate that, I started by using these plaster panels, and then I delete those because I don't like that you can tell that they're stacked, and I use this plaster pillar segment thing, and that looks much better. So that's really all I do here, and then we move over to the window on the right of this building. And for that window, that window is actually the struggle, to be honest, but we get it figured out in the end. I'll explain more about it once we get there, which should be coming up right now. And so here you can see me just placing one plaster panel, because the window that I wanted, it looked as though the window came off of the building just a little bit and then curved down the side of the building, if that makes sense at all. So in order to try and replicate that without making it actually curve down the side, I used a lot of plaster pieces. And here I think I'm actually looking at my inspirational picture to see like how I want the window layout and everything. But yeah, this window was actually the struggle, to be honest. Everything else was a breeze compared to this window. And again, the plaster segment pillars were an absolute lifesaver in this build, because we don't have very small pieces, which if you play Planet Zoo, you know that Frontier is notorious for making pieces a little bit too big. So small pieces are relatively hard to come by in this game. And so when you can find something that's maybe a little bit thinner or a little bit smaller, you are extremely excited. So I was able to find those little bitty plaster trim. I think that's like the plaster trim pieces that I used to go around the border of the plaster, the big plaster panel. And then again, more Twilight wood and glass decals and everything to make the window look as if it's an actual window. And I think this build really and truly made me love the Twilight wood even more than I already did. I mean, I know people have like this ultimate love for the Indonesian stained wood, which, don't get me wrong, those are great pieces. I love how many different pieces there are, but the texture of the Twilight wood is just so spot on for me. And I would love the Twilight wood. I mean, we do actually have like the small panels and everything of the Twilight wood now, which is amazing. But yeah, that's my little rant about that. But anyways, getting back to the build, we are currently working on the restaurant that Jean had originally had a viewing area for the red panda habitat, which is what you're currently looking into a little bit right now. And so to keep that, because Jean asked me to keep an indoor viewing area for the red pandas, I was like, okay. So I didn't keep the full indoor viewing area, but I made it enclosed. So it's kind of a win-win, because I was obviously going to keep that viewing area to begin with, but I didn't, because this viewing window was so large, to make a building a realistic size with the viewing window this large would have been an absolute pain. So I decided to make this little viewing shade structure, I guess you could call it. And then I used the metal girders to create like an arched triangle sort of shape thing, which you'll see here in just a second what I'm talking about. And that goes over the path, because on the opposite side of this we have the I forget what I put in there, but I think it's like a food and a drink shop, because again, the original building that was here was a restaurant. So to keep that same vibe, I put a food and a drink back in, I believe. And then I remember I wanted to so badly to start working on the red panda habitat, but I had to tell myself, no, I'm just working on the entrance. That's all I'm touching. I can't touch anything else. And because of that one little bit right there, I wanted to fix it and make it look nice and neat. Because I think Gunter has this zoo right now that he's working on. And I think he chose the red pandas. I'm not sure though. But I know he made the comment one day. He goes, I love how you just put a little piece of bamboo right there to block them in. I'm like, yeah, I had to keep me from fixing the entire habitat. But anyways, a little fun fact about that. But here we have the new Zookeepers cable pieces that I used for, I guess you could say, not a shade structure, because this doesn't give a lot of shade, but I don't know what you'd call it. But yeah, this is the arched triangle thing that I was telling y'all about just a second ago. And so we're just gonna copy this all the way down, and then on the opposite side of this triangle we are going to have the coffee shop, food shop, restaurant thing. I think, I honestly can't remember what exactly I put in there, because I built this for me probably a month ago or so, and y'all will be watching this in January. I'm currently doing this voiceover in December. Yeah, because again, with the move and everything, I'm trying to get videos scheduled for the entire month of January, so that way I don't have to worry about doing voiceovers and everything while we're in the process of moving. But that's really all I do for this, besides this building right here. And this building it may look a little bit chaotic, but it was actually really simple, and I did have a lot of fun doing this. I don't know when I will get this zoo again, because we're not giving each other a time limit, just because creativity comes whenever creativity comes. You can't force it, otherwise it doesn't turn out right. And so it's just kind of a side project for the four of us to do whenever we want something to do, or if you want to build something in it, we can say, hey, could we have the zoo for a week or so and build whatever we wanted to build and then move on. Otherwise, it's just going to keep going around between the four of us until it's finished, and I don't know when that will be. I honestly don't even know if the other 3 members that are doing this with me are going to be posting videos on it as well. I recorded it just so that way I could have this footage saved for a time when I may need a quick video or something. And right now is that time. So it worked out perfectly for me. But anyways, that's all I have for y'all today. I do post some photos at the end. I don't have any before and after photos. I wish I did. But I do post photos at the end. So make sure you stay tuned to see the interiors of these builds, because if you haven't watched the zoo tour, make sure you go and watch the zoo tour before you watch the end of this video. Otherwise, it's gonna make no sense whatsoever. But anyways, I hope y'all have a great rest of your day. As always, if you would like to, please feel free to leave a like, subscribe, get notified, all of the good YouTube stuff. Anyways, that's all I have. I will talk to y'all later. Bye.